Welcome to our next tutorial of Mesh Surface for Solidworks. Let's start with the sketching of the traditional Solidworks and we go to the 3D sketch. If you try to create anything on top of the reference scan data, for example, you will see that this functionality is really limited and cannot do a lot. So I'll just delete this and we'll go to the tool that Mesh Surface offers to the user. If you go to the Mesh Surface tab, there is an option which is called 3D Sketch on Scan. Before I begin, let me explain how it works. If there is an available open 3D sketch, which is edited at the moment, Mesh Surface will allow you several tools to create the splines and points directly on the reference mesh. And when you finish, it will create them into the current 3D sketch. But if you don't have a 3D sketch, if you press this button, the software automatically will create a 3D sketch in Solidworks, and when you finish, it will bring the features that you have created into this 3D sketch. So let's begin to explore the functionalities that we offer to the user. The simplest one is if you just pick points from the reference mesh. I can just click with my left mouse button and the point will appear. You can always undo and pick another one. You can also manipulate and move these points by selecting the modify button. You can just pick this point and it will just be repositioned in a different location over the mesh. When you're ready, you can just press OK. What happens is that these 3 points are now converted into a native Solidworks points that can be used by Solidworks features. I'll go just for a demonstration to the spline, and as you can see, it snaps to these points and you can create your Solidworks splines. I will just delete them for now and we'll go back to our 3D sketching on scan data. The other feature that we offer the user is creating a splines by picking the points on the mesh, and it will create a spline that will go through these points. In order to start this, I select the mode which is called Create Spline. This mode is also available if you right click and you can see the Modify option, which is the first one, the Add Spline or Add Point. So let's begin now. We'll just pick the first point. And as you can see, the software draws dynamically on the screen the spline that you're about to create. I'll just pick my second point, my third point. I can just move on space. You see that the spline is on the mesh, and my fourth point. So now, for me to finish, I can do this by right click, and in the context menu, I have an option which is called Finish. But there is also an option which is called Remove Last. If you accidentally picked your last point in a place that you don't like it, you can always just right click and select Remove Last. I will just pick in a much better place. Click on these points, right click and then select Finish. As you can see, it just created a spline from these 4 points. Let's create our second one. If I move over a point, there is a snapping option that will allow you to create connected splines. As you can see, it's highlighted in yellow. I can click and start building my next spline. As you can see, I just picked the points over the mesh. What I did just now is to finish just by double clicking on my last point. Again, to demonstrate, I just start creating the spline, clicking the second point. And if I want to finish my spline here, I just double click. As you can see, it created 2 very narrow points, so you can always Ctrl Z and recreate your spline again. Double click to finish. And for us to close this, I will just create this last line here. What about if we want to improve our splines before we actually send them to Solidworks? In order to do this, you can select the Modify option from the navigation dialog, or you can just right click and select Modify. What you can do now is you can just pick the point and move it in space. In some cases you may want to insert another point. As you can see, if I move, it highlights my current edge and it shows where the new point will be. If I just double click, a new point will be inserted, and then you can move and tweak the position of the spline. Let's do this on the other side. Double click to create our other feature point. In this way you can probably also move your waypoints and reposition them in space. If I just try to move our point away from the mesh, when I lift my left mouse button, what it will do is automatically will put this back on the mesh. So you're always snapping to the base mesh. When you're happy, you can just press OK and they will be in SolidWorks sketch. But the last option that I want to show you is that you can actually delete some of the points. If you click on this point, it's selected, so you can simply press the delete key. If you do something by mistake, you can always use the undo button, or you can press Ctrl Z to return to the previous state. And now, because we are a meshed surface for SolidWorks and we always care about quality, you can have something which is called a real-time deviation, which gives you an instant deviation of your splines against the reference scan. So if I just move, you can see that the software automatically gives you a real-time deviation if everything is in tolerance or not, and you can improve your shape. For example, here I can double click to insert additional control points until I get the desired quality. So when I'm happy with this, I just press OK and everything will appear in SolidWorks sketch. At this moment, everything that you see on the screen now, it's a completely fully compatible at SolidWorks 3D sketch that you can use all the SolidWorks tools to improve and create your surfaces. To finish this example, I will just go and accept this 3D sketch, and what I can do nowadays is, for example, I can go to the surfaces, and while this sketch is selected, I can use the field surface command, which you can see on the screen, a short preview of this. I can always go and hide my meshes so I can see the quality of how SolidWorks creates this surface. I can press OK to accept my result. If you want to have a full control of your process, you can always show this mesh and you can call the compare function. We will give you the instant deviation color plot of how close you are to the underlying scan data, and in this case you can take different actions to improve your surface. This was all about the 3D sketching on scan data. I hope this tool will help you to create a wonderful reverse engineering project. Thank you for watching.